the freaking, oh my gosh, finally the freaking video was working. I guess my iPad is just too old for me to be able to use the video portion, because I just tried for like half an hour to get this thing to work and it didn't work. Anyway, guys, obviously you see I am on mobile. It's because my computer is just not wanting to work, and I am at lunch. So I don't really have a whole lot of time to screw around with my computer, and after work I will not have time to do a update for you guys. So I'm just gonna do my best utilizing my phone and my iPad, okay? So we got a lot to get through in like 20 minutes, so let's just jump right in, okay? So there's been a bunch of updates, and some speculation on the whole Trump shooting thing. Some of the things I talked to you guys about today are going to be stuff that is gonna probably come out in the news in the future, but it hasn't yet, and because of that, there's no news stories I can show you about it. So it's just stuff that is going to be ahead of the curve, okay? So, first up, there's now reports that the shooter was spotted up to an hour before by local law enforcement, and it wasn't communicated properly, okay? We're talking a whole hour, right? This is more than the 20 minutes that we originally thought, okay? And when he was spotted, he had a rangefinder in his hand, okay? So this is, an hour before. And also he's kind of, acting awkward out in the field by the building that he was at. So I'm going to try to show you a video by showing you the screen on my iPad for this video. I hope you guys can see it, and if you can't see it, you can Google it. It's on, I think it's what website is this? WTAE.com. It's ABC4. So here's the video. I hope y'all can see it. It's difficult to see.
Taken by a man who was attending the Trump rally with his teenage son. He did not want to be identified.
And then as I looked at it closer, I thought, my goodness, that looks like the shooter. Same color clothing, everything.
If you look closely, you'll see
you can see he's highlighted in the background there.
506. The video appears to show Thomas Crooks lurking near a building just past the secure perimeter of the event itself. As it pans to the crowd, you'll notice law enforcement vehicles stationed.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys could see it. If you could see it, great. If not, let me see if I can back it up just a little bit and pause it. Okay, so look at, hold on, give me a sec. Maybe this will be better. Let me go full screen. Okay. So if you look at him in the background there. He's super out of place. And this is an hour beforehand. Please tell me how that was not communicated or talked about properly. Mind you, I don't know if this is when he has the rangefinder in his hand, but I don't see why it wouldn't have been. Because like I said, one of the snipers took a picture of him in this area with the rangefinder in his hand, right? So we've got an hour beforehand, he is now spotted, okay? That is ridiculous, that it went from 2 minutes to 26 minutes to now almost an hour beforehand, and he was a person of interest that entire time and nothing was communicated, okay? Second of all, there's a rumor going around that picture of the ladder that's hidden behind the trees was his. So far, it seems that is actually where law enforcement placed a ladder after the shooting occurred, and it is seeming like he crawled up a air conditioning unit to get onto the roof, and that he did not bring a ladder. He bought a ladder, yes, at Home Depot. That part was true. There are receipts of that, but there's no evidence suggesting that he brought the ladder. The ladder in the picture that's going around seems to have been placed there by law enforcement following the events. Okay, now, to everybody saying that this was a last-minute thing because he bought the ammo the same day, right? What everybody thinks that because he bought the ammo that same day that he must have been like, oh, it has to be last minute, right? It's not. Apparently, his phone pinged the location on the 7th, so like a whole week before, which means that he was scoping out this area. So he was doing a recon mission to see, okay, I can from here this, and he was looking at the area. We know that because they went into his cell phone and they found the location data from the following weeks, and he was at or near that location on the 7th. Okay, so another thing that people have been thinking is that the decision to place the counter sniper team inside the building on the 2nd floor instead of actually on top of the building that he shot from was something that happened the day of. And apparently that happened earlier in the week. So it was already designated that that was going to happen earlier in the week. And what it was the local law enforcement was the ones that were supposed to be on that roof, right? And the local law enforcement basically said, hey, we are gonna just do it from the 2nd story instead. So that was an oversight. But when it comes down to it, ultimately it's up to the Secret Service to check and double check these things, okay? Now, everybody knows the famous pictures of the 2 Secret Service agents that are on top of that red barn, I think it is, that was right behind the stands to where Trump was. Apparently, they were not the ones that shot him. And the reason that they took so long to shoot, like, to counter the shooter was because the sloped roof actually did obscure the shooter enough so they didn't get a positive ID hindering them, because there was a little bit of confusion on, okay, well, is this the law enforcement team that said they were going to be on the 2nd story, but now they're going to be on top of the building because there were 2 large trees obscuring their view, which I think is completely idiotic. If you can't see a vulnerable point, why would you not obscure the view of that point? So like instead, like, okay, yeah, there's trees in the way, we can't counter snipe somebody who's on that roof maybe, but why didn't they put up, like, I don't know, some type of banner or something in the way, so that way if somebody was on that roof, they wouldn't be able to see, into where Donald Trump was. Who knows, right? But apparently those trees obscured the view of that particular counter sniping team, and that's why it was hard for them to immediately take the shot, right? Now, I'm getting reports that the shot was one of the most difficult that a counter sniping team on the Secret Service has had to take in a very long time. Apparently, they had to hit a 9-inch window from about 400 yards away with a tree in the way. Now, my question is, why was it 400 yards away? Because the only 2 sniper teams that I personally know about was the one that I just talked about, and they were about the same distance away from the shooter as Trump was, and then another team that was the South team that was farther away on another building. But I don't think it would have been 400 yards, maybe 250 or 300 at best. But what I'm hearing is 400 yards away with a tree in the way, shooting at a 9-inch target, basically, which is a pretty difficult shot. So, okay, well, that's interesting. Then we have, give me a second, I gotta look at this. I wrote all this stuff down. Let's see, no drones. Yeah, there was no drones used. Don't know why there were no drones used, because I feel like that's common knowledge to use drones in some type of operation like this, but okay, whatever. Then we have, hold on, this is gonna, oh, I thought it was gonna interrupt me. Never mind, it did not. Give me a second. So no drones. So now here's a theory that's a working theory, apparently, that they are talking about. theory is that this wasn't initially intended to be just an assassination of Trump, because supposedly the theory is that it was supposed to be a mass casualty event, between a combination of him having explosives on him as well as where he was when he was using the rangefinder was not a clear line of sight to Trump. It was a clear line of sight to the stands, but not to Trump. So the working theory is that it was a possible mass casualty event because he didn't have line of sight. And the reason that he ended up actually trying to shoot Trump and it turned into an assassination attempt is because he was trying to get away from the cops, because apparently, I guess after almost an hour of looking for him, they finally started to maybe almost get close to finding him. So he was feeling the heat. And so he decided that the best thing he could do was climb up the air conditioning unit onto the roof. And then, oh, hey, lo and behold, look at that. I guess I could shoot Trump now. I don't find that a very convincing working theory, but apparently that's the one that they're putting out. Whatever, okay. Now, the only reason that I say that it's possibly maybe a credible working theory is because they did find the explosives, and because if he can't shoot Trump where he was on the ground using the rangefinder, then I guess maybe, I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments, let me know. Do you think that's a valid theory or not? Because I'm kind of up in the air. On one hand, I kind of can see it because of some elements, but on the other hand, I don't see the other elements of it. It makes no sense, right? So now, okay, I just said no drones were used. The cop that was boosted, that got up top that had the rifle pointed at him, apparently he was on the shoulders of another officer, or was boosted up by another officer, and when the gun was pointed at him, he was hanging off the edge of the roof about 8 feet in the air, and when the gun was pointed at him, he's like, oh shit, and dropped off, right? So yeah. Now I'm gonna play you the interview with who is this guy? Butler Township someone. He's basically saying what I just said, but explaining it based on what the officer. Let me find the spot for you because it's a 3-minute long video and you guys don't need the whole thing. Let me see. Right here, I think. Okay.
When he was able to pull his head up over the roof, he did in fact see an individual on the roof with a weapon.
He saw the shooter.
He did.
And what did the shooter do?
Turned towards him, had the barrel of his weapon pointed at the officer.
Well, he pointed his rifle at the officer.
Yes.
And at that point, the officer's hanging on
Yes.
to the side of the roof,
Yes.
unable to pull a gun out,
Unable to
defend himself, unable to reach his radio.
any of that. Yeah. Yeah. Strictly defensive movement for him to lower his head, duck, lost his own grip, right? Fell approximately 8 feet to the ground.
So here's what the
Okay,
township
so-
manager told me. He said that the
So yeah, so that's the words from an official there, right? Now here's my question, right? Okay, if you're securing a high value target and you know that there's going to be possible problems, right? Why are there no drones? Why was there no access to that roof? Like, you have the Secret Service basically said, you guys should secure that roof. Local law enforcement was like, we'll be fine on the second story. They ceded the high ground. So you really should have drones in the air. But then on top of that, if you can't have drones in the air, why do you not have, at the very minimum, quick access to that roof or a ladder or something lying around, right? It took them till after the shooter was neutralized to get a ladder to go up there, because if they had access, that officer would not have had to be hanging off a roof like he was cleaning the gutter and slipped, okay? Like, why is he hanging off this roof with the inability to reach his firearm to take out this shooter? Like, had they had a freaking ladder, or even, 2 people tabletopping so that way you could climb them like a ladder. I mean, there's so many different things you could have done. You could have pulled a car close and got up on the hood. It's an emergent situation. Why are you doing something so stupid? But had that officer been able to shoot him in the back or something like that from that position, probably wouldn't have had shots go off at Trump. In addition to that, like I said in my first video on this, I was like, why is everybody saying, hey, there's somebody up on this roof? There's somebody up on this roof. Why is nobody from the police department grabbing a patrol rifle? Because from the vantage point of many of these videos, you can see the guy climbing with a rifle. And if you are a good enough shot, which honestly, from where these people are standing, it's probably only a 50-yard shot, which is a standard indoor range distance. Any officer is, I believe, formally trained for up to 75 yards, like as their most basic training with a rifle. So at 50 to 75 yards, they could have shot this guy while he was climbing up the roof. Why did they have to stand there and get on another guy's shoulder to get up to the roof? What? It doesn't make any sense. So this is either a monumental failure or the most amount of incompetence I've ever seen. There's so much incompetence here, it's hard to say that it wasn't intentional, okay? Then we also have the fact that the CAT teams, the counter assault teams, didn't have their standard amount of guys for operation. So what I mean by that is, if you guys have watched the videos of Trump at the podium after he gets covered by Secret Service, you saw those guys in the black BDUs and the rifles and the helmets and stuff. That's the CAT team. But the thing is, there's only 2 of them. You know how many are in a standard operating group? About 4, between 4 or more. But the standard amount is 4 guys per CAT team. Why were there only 2? So it seems to me like they didn't have enough counter assault people. They didn't have enough Secret Service because they had to rely on local law enforcement. Local law enforcement dropped the ball. And then also, if you notice, those barriers that were in front of Trump, where the red, white, and blue barriers that were like that tall, right in front of the podium, those are actually bulletproof. But if you look in the video, none of them are angled like this. So that way, if there was shots from the sides, that it would be able to block it. Why? Why is that not, why was that not implemented? So like him diving down, he would have to be like right up against those barriers for it to really do anything, because the one on the end was barely angled. Why would they not have that in place? Okay. Then you also have, again, like I said, the one area is perfect line of sight to the president, and there's trees in the way of one sniper team, or sorry, at least 2 sniper teams, because the one couldn't shoot and the other one had to shoot through the trees. So what's going on, right? Why didn't they have somebody on the water tower in the background, right? Who knows, right? So there's entirely too many questions. The head of the Secret Service used to be head of security at PepsiCo, so she guarded, bottles of soda before guarding the freaking front runner for the Republican Party. I don't understand why any of these people are in there on the Secret Service detail, including, if you guys have watched the videos over and over like I have, the couple of women that basically completely just did not do their jobs, like, at all. Like the one that was like cowering behind the big pileup on top of Trump. It's like, you realize your job as a Secret Service agent is to forfeit your life and your body if necessary in order to protect the president, but she just sat behind and let all the men do that job. Okay. Now let me correct myself. There was one female agent that was in that stack. However, when they stood Trump up, 2 things. One, she's like a whole 1.5 feet shorter than him. So how exactly is she on the protective detail like that? Because you should be taller than the person you're protecting, at the very least, or have some other skill set. And then as she was escorting him out, she was ducking down like this. So I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand that at all. So I think the biggest two things that are shocking to me, though, is that, oh, I forgot to mention this. Cheadle, the head of the Secret Service, she also came out and said that the reason that nobody was put on that roof was because it was sloped and therefore presented a safety risk to the Secret Service. And I'm like, hold on. But the red building that they were on top of that was directly behind Trump was a sloped roof and also more sloped. So that doesn't make any sense. And then there's also well, it wasn't our job to be up there. It was local law enforcement. Okay, hold on. Two things cannot be true at the same time. It cannot be that it was too dangerous to put Secret Service up there, but also, well, we didn't have any hand in that because that wasn't our little jurisdiction because it was outside the thing. That was talk to local law enforcement about that. Either it was too dangerous to put Secret Service on, so you made the executive decision to not put them up there, or you were leaving it up to local law enforcement. Fucking which is it, bro? Like, none of these answers are satisfactory. She should quit immediately. And as of now, from my understanding, we have aerial assets now assigned to Trump. We have all men assigned to Trump, and he has more cat teams, complete cat teams. I don't know the actual number because why would they tell me that? But that, as far as I know, the increase in security has happened. So that's good. But we need answers as to how this was allowed to happen, because at this point, there's so many failures that it seems like it was legitimately allowed to happen. Like, there's only so many, like, amounts of incompetence that I can sit here and go, yeah, that was probably incompetence. When it builds up to this amount, it seems so intentional. And am I saying that the individual agents that were on the ground were, like, intentionally doing? No. I'm saying that higher up, the logistics portion, if you were going to do anything to screw this whole thing up, it would be at that point. Because planning where the people are and how many assets are assigned to protect the president and how many drones are in the air and allocating equipment comes from the top. So, and not to get conspiratorial, but guess who controls the Secret Service? DHS. And who's in control of DHS? The current administration. So Biden. Again, I'm not being conspiratorial. I'm just saying there's a lot of unanswered questions, and the longer they're left unanswered, the more it seems to point a certain way. That's just common freaking sense, man. Anyway, guys, if you guys like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I will try to keep this up to date. I know this isn't like my normal content on this channel, but maybe I should make some of these news stories more frequent. I don't know. You guys let me know. Anyway, guys, make sure to support my channel, like and subscribe, and comment down below what you guys think of all of this stuff. And if you guys have any tips or information that haven't been mentioned, or you can, send whatever you've got to me, and I'll try and verify it and all that stuff. Anyway, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Now, how do I end this thing? Because I don't do lives on mobile. Give me a second. I don't know how to end this. Okay. Oh, wait, there it is. Okay, bye, guys.